sharing you a video of our Torah from Yerushalayim, Kodesh, in Jerusalem. We've been on a 3-day tour around Israel, going everywhere from Jerusalem to Tel Aviv to Be'eri to the car park, where all of the burnt out cars from the Nova Festival were taken by the IDF and Israel's forces. But I want to start this Dvar Torah from the Parsha with what is really one of the most famous questions that has ever been asked about the book of Bereshit, which is, once Joseph becomes the viceroy of Egypt, why doesn't he just send word back to his father? Say, Dad, I'm alive. You can come visit me. And there are many answers to this, but I read one yesterday when I visited the National Library in Jerusalem by one of Israel's great modern Bible scholars, Uriel Simon, who quotes Rabbi Yehuda HaChassid from the 11th century, who says that the reason Joseph doesn't send word back to his father is, should Joseph get word to his father before his brothers, immediately Yaakov will say, "You're alive? What happened?" And the brothers will be afraid, they'll be riddled with guilt, they'll point fingers at each other, and they'll run in separate directions. And Yosef is afraid of breaking up the family. But the reason Yosef keeps the secret to himself is because ultimately he needs the family to come to a moment of self-realization. And the book of Bereshit, the last chapters of the book of Bereshit, are these moments where individuals come to growth and self-realization. Judah comes to realize his wanton aspect with respect to family in the story of Yehuda and Tamar, which I suggest that you read. And Yosef brings his brothers to a moment of deep realization about their own guilt vis-a-vis Joseph. Once the brothers own their guilt, once they take responsibility, specifically Judah taking responsibility for Benjamin, then we can reintroduce Yaakov into the picture. Then we can bring things back to a moment where this information can be shared. But the primary motive here is family unity. Here in Israel, you feel this in very deep and palpable ways. Everywhere you go, and I'm going to share with you some of the images. You see the words, Yachad Ninatzeach, Yachad Kumami, we're all together. Different expressions of solidarity. You see them in a variety of places and contexts. Here is an Israeli tattooed singer singing the traditional Achenu Kol Beit Yisrael.
הקדוש ברוך הוא ירחם עליהם ויוציאם מצרה משעבוד לגאולה מאפלה לאורה.
Which is then followed by a Haredi member of the Zaka.
לזקה, ואני גם עובד בחברה קדישא הגדולה בעולם. ראיתי הכל בחיי. אסונות, פיגועים, מלחמות, מקרי מוות בלתי טבעי לסוגיהם, אבל את הרוע ואת האכזריות שנתקלנו במקרה הזה לא העלינו בדעתנו אפילו בתרגילים.
Speaking, all at Kikar Chatufim, the courtyard of the families of the captives, there is this pervasive question of how will we all stay together in this? For us, in the United States and Canada, Europe, the West, we are experiencing this very differently. We're experiencing this with a very different lens. Our family is not threatened in nearly the same way. And so we're asking questions about balance, proportionality. Jewish students on campus and American Jews, they're worried about the anti-Semitism, the campus conversation. They're worried about calls for a ceasefire. They're worried about international pressure. They're worried about how exactly Israel is prosecuting the war. In Israel, the first question is, how are we all going to keep this together? So it has to be just like Joseph and his brothers. Just like Joseph did not reach out to his father, continued to endure the pain of that separation because he knew he had to keep the family together. the same thing has to be true of us. We're going to have to make sacrifices. We're going to have to do everything we can to keep our family together, to keep Am Yisrael Chai together, one, Yachad, to make sure that the various political, social, religious differences do not split us apart, and that we remain united across the continent, across the ocean, to remain in solidarity with our brothers and sisters in the land of Israel. And we have to remember, as difficult as our fight is here, theirs is existential. Theirs is even more intense. And we need to do everything we can to provide them cover, politically, socially, financially, and emotionally, over here. I have much to say and much to share with you about the trip, and I hope to be able to do this in person next Shabbat when I return. And hopefully you'll join me for that very important conversation, Sha'ar Tzedek, on Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom.
אחינו כל בית ישראל הנתונים בצרה, העומדים בין בים באוויר ובין ביבשה, הקדוש ברוך הוא ירחם עליהם ויוציאם מצרה, משעבוד לגאולה מאפלה לאורה. אחינו כל בית ישראל הנתונים בצרה ובשביה, העומדים בין בים באוויר ובין ביבשה, הקדוש ברוך הוא ירחם עליהם ויוציאם מצרה, משעבוד לגאולה מאפלה לאורה.